Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our yoga class this evening. Thanks for joining me. So we will go ahead and start. We'll come down lying on our back this evening to start our practice. So just come to a comfortable position lying on the back. For a moment, just allow everything to stretch out long. So just let the legs rest heavy. Toes can turn out naturally. And just allow your arms to rest by your side. Palms facing up. Just start to feel a connection here with our mats, with the earth below us. So as we start to ground down for our practice, just try to let the rest of your day go. We'll try to focus on being present here for the next 45 minutes for our class. So we will begin to tune into our breath. So either keeping the hands just where they are, or maybe bring one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart space. Start to feel the natural rhythm of your breath flowing in and out of the body. Just feel the chest and the belly rise with each inhale. Let them fall on the exhale. So as we tune in with our breath here, we'll start to lengthen and deepen our inhales and exhales. So all together, we'll take a nice big inhale breath through the nose. And send the breath deep into the low belly. Think about filling the body up from the bottom all the way up to the top with air. So big deep inhale. Good. Exhale, release. Just sending the breath back up from the belly, through the chest, all the way out the nose. Another big deep inhale. Feel the belly rise and expand as we breathe in. Exhale, belly softens. So carry on here with our deep inhales and exhales. Just seeing if you can make each cycle of breath a little bit longer than the one that came before it. So we'll hold in silence here and just continue to breathe for about 4 more cycles of breath. All together, we'll take one more big deep inhale. Feel that breath flowing in through the nose, filling up the chest, the belly. Exhale, release. Allow the belly to soften, chest softens. And from here, if you brought your hands on the body, just let them fall back to the side. Start to bring a little bit of movement to the body here. So you can wiggle the fingers and the toes. Just gently starting to wake everything up for practice tonight. Then we'll reach the arms up overhead. Come into a nice big full body stretch here. So lengthen from the fingertips all the way down to the toes. Really stretch everything long. And then keeping the body where it is, we'll just walk the fingers over to the left side of the mat. And then if you want to also walk the toes, you can move the feet just over to the left side. So we're kind of making a nice arc shape here with the body, stretching both the hands and the feet over to the left side. So starting to lengthen and open up through our right side as we bend over here. And then we'll go ahead, bring the hands and the feet back to center for a breath. And then we'll start to walk the hands to the right side. Walk the feet over to the right side as well. So finding that nice curved shape, bending over to the right side. And then we'll come back to center again. So finding a nice long line here from the fingertips all the way down to the toes. Take one more big stretch here through your entire body, lengthen everything out. Good, and then from here, we'll start to draw the knees in towards the chest. So hug the knees in, maybe bring the hands either on top of the shins or behind the thighs. Just give yourself a nice big hug. You can rock a little bit from side to side, maybe sway. You can feel nice for the low back here. And then from here, we will keep the knees glued together. Just let the hands or the arms come by your side. You can stretch them out in a capital T, or maybe bend at the elbows. These are our cactus arms. And then from here, just let both knees fall over to the left side of the mat together. So finding a little spinal twist here over to the left. As we breathe in here, we're really starting to open up through the right side of the body. So you can focus on sending our breath deep down the right side. So we'll hold for about 2 more breaths on this side. After the next exhale, we'll draw our knees back up to center. Keep them hugged in tight together. And then let both legs fall to the right side this time. Spinal twist on the right side. Hold it here for about 2 more breaths on this side. Good. We'll slowly start to draw the knees back up towards the chest. Give yourself one more nice big hug here. Draw the knees in.
Sorry, oversleep.
And then we'll release our feet here. So bend the knees. We're going to come into happy baby. So if it feels good, you can use your index and middle finger to grab onto the big toes, or maybe just bring your hands to the outside of the feet. If your feet feel like they're too far away, you can always just grab onto the legs here. So bend your knees as much as feels good. Just maybe rock a little bit from side to side. So we'll hold here for about 2 more breaths. So if you want to bend the knees a little bit more, just come a bit deeper into the stretch. That might feel good. Then we'll release the grip on the feet. Let's send the legs long here. Flex the feet. And you can point and flex the feet. Maybe roll the ankle down a little bit here. So just holding in our legs at the wall pose for a couple of breaths. Maybe getting some snaps and cracks out of the ankle joint. Roll everything out here, loosen things up. And then if it feels good, just to flex the feet towards the ceiling. Go ahead and hold there for a last couple breaths. And we'll slowly start to bring the feet back down to the mat. We'll find one more pose here lying on our back. So we'll come into bridge pose. So for bridge pose, we'll keep the knees bent, soles of the feet planted on the mat. Just allow the hands to rest beside your body. And to move into bridge, we'll engage the core. Just lift the hips up off the mat here. So nice long line from the knees to the chest. Really engage the core. Hands can just be beside you on the mat. We'll just hold for another breath here. Good, and on the exhale, gently, slowly come all the way back down to the mat. Good, as a little counter pose. If you want to hug the knees in one more time, go ahead. And then we'll start to make our way up into a sitting position. So if it feels good, you can just roll over onto your side. Maybe rest on your side for a breath or two. Whenever you're ready to join me, we'll come all the way up. Just coming into a comfortable seated position. So it could be cross-legged if that feels good. And we'll start to stretch out the arms here. So take a nice big inhale. Reach the arms up overhead. Maybe interlock the hands. Palms face up towards the ceiling if that feels good. If not, fingertips can just stay extended, reaching tall. Good, so wherever you are, we'll hold for 2 more breaths. And then if you did interlock the hands, we'll release them. Bring the right hand down to the mat, plant it down, and we'll go ahead and bend through the left side. So nice big stretch through the left side body. Gaze can be in front of you or maybe starting to look over up to the ceiling a little bit if that feels okay for your neck. If not, you can just look back down to the mat. Good, we'll go ahead and move in the opposite direction. So left hand comes down, right arm sweeps up overhead. Send the breath down that right side body here. Good, now we're just gonna sway a little bit from side to side, so move at your own pace. If you're going a little bit faster, a little bit slower than me, that's okay. Just move with your breath here. Inhale and exhale as you flow from side to side. So we'll just flow into one more cycle to each side, and then we'll meet back in center here. Good, so nice big inhale, sweep both arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good, we'll release the hands. Come over and find a tabletop pose. So tabletop, coming onto our hands, onto the knees. We'll start to loosen up the spine. So let's move through a few rounds of cat-cows. So round the back here, tuck the chin in, making that nice C shape with the back body. And then we'll inhale as we allow the belly to drop. Chin can point up towards the ceiling. Good, exhale, draw the belly button in around the spine. Tuck the chin to the chest. Good, belly drops, big, deep inhale. Gaze can come out in front of you or up towards the ceiling. Good, so at your own pace, just move through a few more rounds of our cat-cows. And then from here, we'll meet back in a neutral spine. We'll plant the right hand in the mat, send the left arm up overhead, reach through the left fingertips here. Nice big stretch for the arms. Good, release that hand back down to the mat. Plant down through the left hand and we'll send the right arm up overhead. And release both hands back down. Now we'll come into our puppy pose. So for puppy pose, we'll keep the hips and the knees in line. And we'll just start to walk the hands forward. So really ground down through the palms, through all the finger pads. And then if it feels okay for you, you can slowly start to lower the head down here. So maybe your forehead or chin will come down to the mat or the ground. If it feels like a long ways for you, you can always use some support like a yoga block or a pillow underneath your head. And if you want to stay in a more upright position, that's okay too. You can just extend the arms a little bit here. So wherever you are in this pose, just make sure that the neck is relaxed, that you're not holding too much tension there in the neck. This is a nice big stretch here through the chest, through the heart space. So make sure that you're breathing as we hold. Good, one more cycle of breath here. And then we'll start to walk the hands back in, lift the head up here, finding our tabletop again. Good, from here, we'll start to extend the left leg long. So flexing the foot here, think about the leg making a nice long line here from the hip all the way to the ankle. Just hold and breathe. So engage the core here, helps to really have a nice strong back. Instead of dumping in the back like this, we want to really hug the belly button in here so we extend the leg. And then draw the left knee back in, placing it on the mat. We'll go ahead, send the right leg long. So nice stretch here through the right leg. Nice long line on that leg. Good, exhale, bring the right knee back down. So we'll go ahead and extend the legs again. This time we'll move opposite arm, opposite leg. So let's go for left leg, right arm. So nice long line here. Really reaching and extending everything out. And from here, we'll hug knee to elbow. So draw it in, keep the knee up off the mat. Good, extend it long. Beautiful, we'll do that 2 more times. Knee to elbow, hug it in, lengthen it out. Perfect, last one here, knee to elbow. Good, release everything back down to the mat. You can sway the hips out a little bit if that feels good. And then we'll move into the opposite side. So right leg is long this time. Left arm reaching out in front of you. Extend the fingertips. Take a big inhale breath. And then on the exhale, hug knee to elbow. Good, lengthen everything long again. From here, hug it back in. And extend. Really reach through the fingers or reach through that foot. Hug it in. Last one here. Good, and release. Perfect. Let's come into child's pose. So bringing the knees nice and wide. Big toes can be together. And then just sit the hips back onto the heels. So we'll reach the hands out in front. Slowly lowering down. So forehead might come all the way down to the mat. Let's take a minute to catch our breath here. So holding in child's pose for about 3 more breaths. And then we'll slowly start to press out of child's pose. Come back to your tabletop. And then from here, we'll tuck the toes, Send the hips high, finding our first downward dog of our practice tonight. So take a moment just to settle into downward dog. You can pedal the feet out here a little bit. Bend the knees as much as feels good. So again, just check in with your hands here. Make sure that you're really grounding down into the floor. So pressing the palm and all the fingertips into the mat. Good. We'll take about 2 more breaths here in downward dog. Whenever you're ready, we'll start to walk towards the top of the mat. So finding a little forward fold. Just allow the backs of the hands to rest on the mat. Maybe they rest on the shins, or you can grab for opposite elbows if that feels good for you. So holding here in our forward fold, maybe sway from side to side. Bend the knees a little or a lot, whatever's feeling good for your lower body here. And just think about letting your head and the neck just rest heavy down towards the floor. And if you did reach for opposite elbows, just let go of the grip here. Then we'll take a nice big inhale as we rise up to standing. So reaching hands up overhead and exhale, hands to heart center. I'm just gonna move my camera up a little bit here. Good, from heart center, just release our hands back by our side. Roll the shoulders up, back and down. Just bring the gaze forward for a moment here. Take a breath in mountain pose. So mountain pose, we've got a nice, long, tall spine from the crown of the head all the way down to the tailbone. Big, deep inhale. Exhale, let it go. Good. From here on our next inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, reach tall. Exhale, forward fold. Good. From here, we'll start to step back to downward dog again. So just holding in our downward dog. Take a couple of breaths here. Good. And whenever you're ready to step forward, we'll bring the right foot between the hands and rise up, meeting in warrior two pose. So take a minute just to find your foundation here in warrior two. So really lunging deep into the legs. We're bending lots into that front leg here. Reach the arms out long on either side of the body. Good, and breathe. And then from here, we'll come into our windswept warrior. So turn the right palm up towards the ceiling. Just lengthen and extend through the right side. So reach that arm up overhead. You bring the left hand maybe down the back leg. Beautiful. Come back up to center, back to warrior two. And then from here, we'll do humble warrior. So bring the hands to the back body, either to the low back, or you can interlock the hands together. Then we're just gonna lean forward here. So just bringing the chest down towards the mat. If the arms are interlocked behind you, they can come up off the back body, or maybe just resting your hands on the low back. As we lunge forward, it might feel good to bring your hands down, and they can just be in front of the feet here. So feel free to make any adjustment that feels good as we're holding here in our humble warrior. Just hold for one more breath. And then wherever you are, we'll rise back up, sweep the arms up. One more breath in warrior two. Good, then from here, we'll transition to warrior one. So we'll step our feet a little bit closer and then just turn to face the front of the room. So hips square to the front of the room. Inhale the arms up overhead and lunge deep in the legs again here. Good, nice, strong warriors. From here, we'll take it one step further tonight. So we'll do warrior three. Not sure if we've done this one before, but we're gonna actually lift our back foot off the mat and try and tip our body over. So if you want to join me, go ahead and bring maybe hands to the hips here, to the heart center. Just start to walk the feet a little bit closer, and then we'll spring up off the back toes. So lengthen and extend the back leg, maybe just stopping wherever you are. Somewhere like here is good. Or if it feels good, you can really bend into that right leg. Lengthen and extend the left leg. Warrior 3 pose. Good job. We'll hold for one more breath. And then we'll slowly come up. Take a breath here, warrior 1. And then we'll plant the hands back down to frame the foot. And step both feet back. Downward facing dog. Good. Take a moment to catch your breath here. Just gonna adjust my mat. All right, so from our downward dog, we'll come into the other side. So I'll turn so that you'll be able to see me a little bit better here. So this time we'll step our left foot forward. Rise up, warrior 2. So nice, strong warriors here, lunging deep into the legs, reaching those arms out long. We'll start to come into reverse warrior on this side. So turn left palm up towards the ceiling. Sweep that arm overhead. Right hand come down the back leg. As we sweep the upper body back, we keep that nice deep lunge in the legs here. Good, breathe. Rise back up, warrior 2. Choosing your version of humble warrior. So maybe hands come to the low back, maybe interlock the fingers. Wherever you are, we'll start to bring the chest forward. Think about bringing our body to the inside of that left knee. So wherever you fall here, choosing to keep the arms back behind you, or maybe it feels good to bring the hands on the mat in front of you. Wherever you are, breathe. And then from here, we'll start to press ourselves back up. Come back up, warrior 2. And then we'll start to turn our hips towards the front of the mat again. So finding warrior 1, squaring our hips forward, reach the arms overhead and lunge. Perfect. Good. From here, either choose to stay in this warrior 1 variation, or you can join me for warrior 3. So first of all, step your feet a little bit closer. Then we'll start to lift up off the back toes. So springing up off the back foot, lengthen and extend the leg. So for this pose, we think about a nice long line from the crown of the head all the way down to the foot. Hands could be on the hips or at heart center. One more breath here. And gently come back down, warrior 1 pose. Good job, everybody. Take a nice big breath here. And then we'll bring the hands back to frame the front foot. Step it back. Take a breath here. Downward dog. Good. From downward dog, just release. Coming all the way back down to tabletop. And then we'll turn to face the wide edge of our mat. So we'll come into a little yogi squat here. So finding our position here on our feet. I'm gonna move my camera again. There we go. All right. So we want to have our feet a little bit wider than hip distance, toes pointed out. And then we'll bring our hands to heart center, just slowly starting to sink down here. So coming all the way down as far as feels good. No pressure to come too deep. You can be up here a little bit higher if that feels good. If you do want to come down deeper, always an option here to bring some support under the sit bones. So you can put a blanket, a pillow, yoga block, anything there to support you. If you come all the way down into your little squat here, elbows can be on the inside of the knees, and you can just use those elbows to press the knees a little bit wider. So it should never hurt. If this is uncomfortable for you, be sure to back right out. You can always just hold in a little fold if that feels better, okay? So if you did join me in the squat, we'll take one more breath here. Good, and release. So bringing the hands down first, and we'll send the hip bones high, finding a wide-legged forward fold. So turn the feet to face the front rather than out to the side here. So toes pointing forward. Just allow the upper body to hang heavy. So you can grab for the outside of the feet if that feels good. Maybe you just use your arms to draw the upper body down a little bit further. You can also reach for opposite elbows here. So lots of different variations. Maybe adding a little sway from side to side. From our little forward fold, we'll transition into Skandasana, it's called. So bring the hands down to the mat in front of you, bend your knees a lot. And we're gonna start to move over to the right side. So really bending the right knee, straightening that left leg. So you can leave your hands on the mat in front of you, or maybe bring hands up to heart center if that feels good. So this is a pretty deep stretch on that left leg. So do what you can. If you need to keep more of a bent knee, it's no problem. Hold here for 2 more breaths. And after the next exhale, we'll transition into the opposite side. So first of all, bring the hands down. We'll use the hands to press into the mat in front of us. And then in a nice fluid motion, we're gonna lift the hips up and over. So bending into the left leg, straighten the right leg here, hands to heart center. Good. Breathe. One more breath here. And then we'll bring the hands back in front of us. Press the hips back up. Find another wide-legged forward fold. So bring the feet towards the front of your mat. Just let everything rest heavy here. Maybe reach for opposite elbows. Add in a little sway from side to side. And we'll start to rise all the way up to standing pose. You can step the feet together. Maybe let the upper body hang heavy for a moment. And then very slowly, one vertebrae at a time, we'll roll all the way up. We'll come into our tree pose now. So now you can't see my head, but you can see the rest of me. So let's start by grounding down through the left leg. We'll just start to turn the right foot, right knee out to the side. So you can bring that right foot to just the inside of the left ankle. Maybe it'll come up to the shin. Or if you've done lots of trees, maybe over time you'll join me here, bringing the foot to the inside of the thigh. So hands can be resting on the hips. And if they are, just take a minute to make sure both hips are level here. And then bring hands to heart center. Or you can always reach up and grow your tree up tall. So wherever you are in tree, let's hold for 2 more breaths. You rock and sway a little bit, so that's okay. One more big, deep inhale. And exhale, release. So bring the hands back down through heart center. Release the right foot down to the mat here. Beautiful, just step it out. Let the hands come back by your side. Nice big breath in mountain pose. Good, we'll move into the opposite side. So this time ground down through that right foot. Turn the left knee out to the side of the room. So left foot maybe comes to the right ankle, shin or thigh. So find whatever variation feels good for you today. Maybe noticing if it's a little bit easier on one side or the other. First of all, engage your core here. So really think about hugging your belly button into your spine. Want a nice, long, tall spine. And then bring hands to heart center or grow your tree, reaching for the ceiling. Good, holding here for a couple more breaths. Good, and release. So bring hands back down, release the foot. Just gonna turn to the side of the room. Big breath, sweep the arms up overhead. And then from here, we're gonna sit the hips back, come into chair pose. So reach those arms out in a 45-degree angle, kind of out in front of you and slightly up. We wanna zip that core in here. So really hug the belly button in and sit the hips back so we're sinking low. So lots going on here in our chair. Make sure our knees are not going out in front of the toes. So really sitting back. One more deep breath. See if you can sit it back a little bit deeper. Good, and release, forward fold. Good job. Chair pose is not an easy one. There's lots going on in that one. So just let everything rest heavy. Good, from our forward fold, we'll come down to tabletop. So plant the hands, come down to the knees. Take a couple breaths here. And then whenever you're ready, we'll turn ourselves onto the back body. So come all the way down, lying on the back. We'll come into our figure four pose. So keep the right foot planted on the mat. We'll bring the left ankle to the top of the right thigh. So making that little figure four position. And this might feel like a pretty deep stretch in your body. So if you're feeling like that's a pretty good stretch, stay right here. If you want to come a bit deeper, you can pick the right foot off the mat. Maybe reach your hands between the legs. You can grab onto the right shin or back of the thigh. So the closer you hug those legs in towards you, the deeper the stretch you'll feel in the legs there. And so we'll hold on this side for about 4 more breaths. Good, and we'll gently start to release the grip on the feet here. For the legs, just bring the right foot down to the mat. And when you're ready, uncross the legs. We'll plant the soles of both feet down. Just take the knees from side to side here. Windshield wiper it out. Just loosening everything up. It will bring the knees back up to center. When you're ready, we'll pick the right foot off the mat. Turn that knee out towards the side of the room. Right ankle coming on top of left thigh. So finding our figure four on the right side. Choose to stay in this first variation or maybe pick the foot off the mat. You can reach between the legs here, grabbing onto that left leg. Draw it in a little bit closer to the body. And slowly start to release the grip here on the legs. Then uncross the legs, bring the soles of both feet down to the mat, and just let the knees fall from side to side. So windshield wiper it out. And then we'll bring the knees back to center. Hug the knees in towards the chest again here. And this time as you're drawing knees in towards the chest, just see if you can lengthen the tailbone a little bit. So sometimes that means just letting the knees fall away from your body and you're just lengthening that tailbone down. So just a very slight little movement. And that creates a nice long spine. So from the crown of the head all the way down to the tailbone, think about your body being glued down to the mat. Nice long spine. Hold here for 2 more breaths. Good. Give those knees one more squeeze in. And we'll release. We'll find legs up the wall pose one more time here. So lengthen and extend the legs long. Flex the feet. So think about pressing the feet if you were going to step on the roof. So nice flat foot here. Nice long legs, but you can keep a bend as much as feels good in the legs. Just let your arms rest by your side and breathe. We call this legs up the wall. You don't have to use a wall, but if you have a wall, you certainly can put your legs up against it. It's a really good pose to end off our classes. It just helps to bring circulation to the lower body. It helps to move all that blood throughout our entire body from the head to the toes. So let's hold here for a couple more breaths. And when you're ready, we'll gently start to bend the knees, bring the feet down to the mat. Move into our final resting pose, our Shavasana. So just lengthen everything out, just as we started today. So let the legs rest heavy. The toes can turn out as far as feels good here. Move the heels away from each other. Just let the backs of the hands rest on the mat. Start to close the eyes. Just let the entire body start to surrender, start to relax here. Notice if you might be holding any tension in the face, in the jaw, or the neck. See if you can let go of these tense areas. Just imagine there's a wave washing over your entire body. And as it washes over you, bringing with it a sense of calm. So from the head all the way down to the toes, just feel every single muscle starting to relax, release, let go. Shoulders rest heavy. Backs of the arms melt into the mat. Just let the hips and the pelvis sink. Release any tension in the backs of the legs. The heels rest heavy. Allow the entire body to relax, release, let go. Very gently start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. And when you're ready, just roll over onto one side of the body. You can bend the knees. You keep the eyes closed if that feels good. Whenever you're ready, very slowly we'll come up to a comfortable seated position. So maybe just finding a cross-legged position, sitting on your mat. We'll bring hands to heart center and close the eyes. We'll take one last cycle of breath all together tonight. So big, deep inhale. Feel it drawing in through the nose, all the way down to the belly. Good. Exhale, release. Send that breath out in the opposite direction. And we'll just start to allow our breath to return back to its natural rhythm. And thank you all so much for joining me for yoga class tonight. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.